Hey, what's up, everybody? BDL44 coming at you another video. All right, so a couple things going on in the NBA. One, they've passed an approval in regards to they, meaning the Players Association and the league itself. I think they've agreed upon some type of stricter rule in regards to load management. Essentially, you cannot rest two all-stars in the same game. Now, the question I have for the league is how do you determine who an all-star is? Obviously, someone who's made an all-star team in the past, or someone who's a perennial all-star, someone you expect to make the all-star team. How do you do that? You know what I mean? We could say Paul George or Kawhi Leonard, but when was the last time they made an all-star team? So are you going to punish them for being all-stars from the past? Does this include players who've made one all-star team maybe 6 years ago? So they got to figure that out, and I don't have the answer to that right now. But basically, that's what they've said. You can't rest two all-stars at once. How are they going to figure that out? You tell me. Now, the next thing that we want to talk about is Brandon Ingram. Essentially, it's been said that Brandon Ingram is not expected to sign an extension with the Pelicans. I don't really know, because at this point in time, I would say the Pelicans should prioritize Brandon Ingram, especially with the issues that they've had keeping Zion on the floor, some of the other stuff that's going on. CJ McCollum, his career isn't taking off in Portland like it did in Portland. He seems like he's fallen off of a cliff, so to speak. Some of the draft picks that they had really didn't work out, although I do like what they did picking up Hawkins. He's going to be one of the better shooters if he develops properly in this league. So they do have plenty of talent. Obviously, they just signed Herb Jones to an extension. You definitely want to keep Herb on the team. Alvarado had a bad injury last year, but y'all know I believe in him. And they got a lot of talent. They have a lot of assets that you want, but unfortunately, they lost. Well, I don't know if you could say lost, but he's going to miss a lot of time. Our guy, one of my favorite guys, also Trigger, Trey Murphy III, who's going to have to miss some time after having surgery on a meniscus tear, I believe it was, that he suffered during a workout about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So they got a lot going on in New Orleans. I don't know why BI wouldn't be a priority. Now, we know he didn't have the greatest FIBA World Championship process with that team. He was supposed to be one of the guys to step up and be one of the big stars, and he just didn't manifest into that. But I don't think that equates to him not being a big-time player in the NBA. He's a heck of an all-star level player. So with them not expected to extend him, one would think that they may look to trade him. If not now, then probably at the midway point. So keep an eye open for BI. His name could be involved in any one of them big old trades for Dame Lillard or James Harden, because at the end of the day, that's the type of piece that you hope shakes a loose if you're one of those teams. Maybe Miami can kind of incorporate him in the Dame Lillard trade. Maybe have him go. I don't know how they would do that, but maybe you send some stuff from Miami to Pelicans, send BI to Portland, send Dame to Miami. That's something that you can start dreaming about if you're one of those GMs. So that's something that's a big deal. BI becoming potentially available, although nothing is said about him being traded or potentially being traded. But if he's not going to sign that extension, you don't want him to walk for nothing. In my mind, that equates to him being possibly traded. Next thing we want to talk about is Kevin Porter Jr. It is being said, of course, that Kevin Porter Jr., with all the stuff that's going on with him in New York and the alleged domestic violence case that's going to be pending, the Rockets do not want to waive him. Now, in a previous video, we talked about the Rockets last night. It was said that I read a report that said they were going to waive him, but that is not the case. They're going to try to trade him first. Now, most people think you probably can't trade a guy like that with the circumstances he has going on. You don't even know if he's going to return to the court. A lot of people want him banned. So why would anybody expect to be able to get trade value for him? Well, it's been said that the Houston Rockets are willing to attach draft compensation to Kevin Porter in order to make that move happen. And for me, that's a free deal. That's a free deal. I want all teams to take a look at that, because if Houston has trade value or draft equity that they're willing to give up, you're just going to basically get that for free. He's going to be looked at as a salary dump, more or less. And that is one hell of a salary dump conversation, because you're going to have to pay him $16 million if you try to waive him. And if he gets a big sentence in New York, you're definitely going to waive him. So you're going to be out $15 million. If I'm trade team, they're going to fill that up in trade, in draft equity, and other stuff. So Houston's going to have to pony up to make that make sense for any one of these teams I want to trade for Kevin Porter Jr. But if I'm one of these teams that could use some extra assets and maybe an extra point guard, if things work out for Kevin Porter and he doesn't have to go to prison, which I don't know how that's going to work out, then obviously you're not only picking up draft compensation, but you're also picking up a hell of a player. And we know Kevin Porter can play. Now the question is his character, man. Since all this stuff has been alleged, as well as his history has been unearthed, and now stuff that we didn't necessarily know about has been unearthed as well, one would think that he's probably just not the guy to bring into the locker room. Okay, let's just be honest. I don't really want my Lakers to go after him. I do want him on the team without all this nonsense, but now that I know what I know, I'm cool, man. So that's the problem. Picking him up is not necessarily a plus at this point. So, like I said, Houston's going to have to make that make sense. But I think they're going to find a trade partner. I don't think it's going to be too difficult to have somebody take a chance on this situation. A lot of jokes have been had about the Hornets since they have so many troubled players. They're going to probably try to go get Kevin too. But I wouldn't suggest they do anything in regards to the point guard position because, quite honestly, they have a logjam at the point guard position right now. They don't need another guard of any kind at all. But maybe if you trade 2 for 1, you open up the situation for yourself, that kind of thing. But I doubt the Hornets get involved in that. I don't have any idea who would want to get involved in that, to be honest with you. I don't know who. But I know there are going to be some teams that will be willing to make this trade for the extras that are going to be given to that team on top of Kevin Porter's rights and contract, which is about $84 million. Guaranteed $16 million if he's waived. So if I'm the owner of a team that's going to make this trade, I just assume that it's going to cost me $15 million to waive him because he ain't playing for me. That's just where we're at right now. He ain't going to play for me. Not that I'm demanding him not play as a fan. That's not what I'm saying to you. I'm saying that I don't think he's going to be doing too well in regards to that case. He's going to have to sit down, and that's what I see coming. It's New York. They don't play like that. So he's going to do at least 5 years, honestly. Unless he's able to weasel his way out of this circumstance. Maybe the evidence will show that he didn't do what he said that they said he allegedly did. And then, like I said, you got a great prospect who hopefully will learn his lesson if he's able to be blessed without getting any time in this situation. But again, this is the state of New York. I don't see that. Now, if I'm one of those 2 New York teams, I might be willing to do that since he's going to be in our state. Brooklyn Nets, maybe they could use some draft compensation since they don't hardly have any. And you could also use a guy like Kevin Porter Jr. because the best guard you have on your team is Spencer Dinwiddie. And Spencer Dinwiddie, to me, is more of a role player than he is a star. And if you want to be a win-now team like Brooklyn say they want to be, then upgrading that guard position is not the worst idea for them, in my humblest opinion. So, maybe Brooklyn gets involved. But then again, Brooklyn didn't want any draft compensation for KD. So I don't think unless they've changed their tune on draft compensation, I don't know if they want to do that. Now, the Knicks always are in position to do anything because they got all kinds of draft compensation to trade for anybody. So I don't imagine the Knicks want to pick up Kevin Porter Jr. That don't really make a whole lot of sense for them, given the fact they got guards in place as well. They got to find ways of playing quickly. Quickly's a much better player than they are able to showcase him, and that's crazy. So, to me, they shouldn't be looking to get him. But at the end of the day, these are 2 of the teams I'm looking at in regards to that. Maybe the Clippers might want to get involved, but if you can't assure that the guy's going to end up playing for you, then obviously what you want to do is just get rid of something that you most definitely want to get rid of, throw it off to the Rockets, and hopefully get back the draft compensation that comes with it. That's why I get involved on the Clippers, because they don't have any picks and stuff that I know of, and they could use some. So Kevin Porter is essentially a salary dump that's expected to get waived upon trade, if you ask me. If you ask me. Waived upon trade. As soon as he gets to where he's going, $15 million checks signed to him. Goodbye. Good luck with your situation. Because that's really what I expect to happen now. But that doesn't mean that a trade can't be made, because there are a lot of teams with a lot of garbage that they would like to get rid of. And that is why you do this. You give your garbage to the Houston Rockets. In the form of $85 million worth of salary, which a lot of teams have to give. Best believe there's a bad contract out there, or a couple bad contracts that they can give to the Rockets. Go ahead, take that. So that's what I'm wondering if that's what we're going to see here. If the team's just going to give them a bunch of trash in exchange for like some second-round picks and the rights to this guy, Kevin Porter Jr. So, best case scenario, he beats his case and he comes back an even better player, and then you got a guy that can go on his way to being an all-star, because that's exactly what his talent is. Problem is what he's going through, man. What he put himself through, and allegedly in the situation. So that's really what it is to say right there. That's the NBA news for the day. Of course, there will be more now that we see us getting closer to the NBA start. Training camp is right around the corner, and of course, preseason will be thereafter very, very, very soon. So I don't know that you're not going to see a big trade coming, y'all. Especially with B.I. now shaking a loose, essentially saying he ain't signing with New Orleans, allegedly, maybe, possibly, I don't know. But the word is he's not expected to sign with them. He is a great piece to incorporate into a Dame trade, as I've already said, or a James Harden trade, as I've already said, or even a Joel Embiid trade, which could be actually possible, though nobody's talking about it. If you follow me, you know that's exactly how you get people traded that want to get the hell out of places. You keep your mouth shut and you do it like a thief in the night. And I still think Joel Embiid is a good candidate for wanting the hell out of 76er land. One of the last things he said is he's willing to come back to Philly, and he's open-minded to playing with James Harden again. Okay, and he also took the Philadelphia 76ers off all his handles on all his social platforms about a month and a half ago. Both things are true. So at this point in time, I'm of the mindset that one of these superstars is going to get it as it pertains to do not make a trade demand allowed. You do it like this to your GM, and you sit back and pretend like you want to be there forever. And then they just trade you overnight, and all of a sudden you get what you want. That's the only way to really play this thing. That's what we've learned over the last several years of people making trade demands and not getting the hell out of anywhere anytime soon. This is how you do it. So if Joel Embiid is the one who gets it, then you could see him being traded like a thief in the night. I heard something about Giannis possibly wanting out of Milwaukee as well. I don't know if I put too much credence into that, because I know people want him out of Milwaukee. But Milwaukee's done some things that doesn't make me feel like they really have a contender this year. If they're a contender, it's because he's going to make them. That just as always is the case. But with Drew Holiday getting 1 year older, Middleton kind of getting a little older as well, coming off injury again, and then bringing back Brook Lopez, who's like 176 years old, for like a $300 million, which is obviously exaggeration. But they paid him a lot because he's earned a lot for a good season he had last year. He's still very, very old for that big contract. I just don't like that in terms of trying to build a champion. I don't. So if I'm Milwaukee, of course I'd like to keep Giannis. But if I'm Giannis, I probably want the hell out of Milwaukee. So, again, a thief in the night. If they're doing it right, a thief in the night. BDL 44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.